Welcome to Slayerfest 98. I'm your co-host, Ryan Houlihan.
I'm Ian Carlos Crawford.
I am Zachary Patton Garcia, and our guest today, we've got the most wonderful encyclopedia of TV knowledge, the host of The Empire Diaries and Angel on Top.
LaToya Ferguson.
Hi, LaToya.
Hello.
So LaToya picked this episode because she was kind enough to come on for an episode I could not find anyone to come on for. That was our deal. I was like, you can pick whatever other episode you want to come on for.
A beautiful story.
And so we're here to talk about 5x5. I think it definitely is the best episode of this season, I think.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. This is the first time Angel shows you, like, oh, this is the show.
Yes. So, Zach, I really am curious, like, overall thoughts on the episode.
Well, I already love these ones, and I love Faith. Faith is arguably, she's in my top three. She might be next to Buffy, honestly, for me. But because I watched a few episodes from this season just throughout childhood and stuff like that. And these were always the ones I would go back to. So I bought the DVD set just for her two episodes in this. Like, I really love these. And it was just as great as I remember. And I'm super excited to get to the next one. And Elijah Dushku.
Yeah. LaToya, so you didn't get a chance to talk about this on your podcast. So what do you think of this episode? I mean, you picked it, so I know you love it, but
yeah, it's a great episode. Unlike really, after She is kind of a turning point in the season, but especially from here on to the rest of the season, it is like Ryan was saying, it is telling you what the show is, basically. Because after this arc, you have the introduction of Gunn too.
Yeah. I really think that's really accurate. The show does. It's like, because I was thinking about, as I was taking notes, my notes are so long for this episode because there's a lot going on and there's a lot of characters, but it all works, right? Like they juggle the like Wolfram and Hart shit, the Angel investigation shit, the flashback stuff. And it's like, it just feels nicer than just being like, here's a one-off character that we're never going to see again that we know you won't care about. We're going to try to make you care.
Well, because these were all like little elements that they introduced throughout the entire season, right? It's like the flashbacks and then they're like, detective work and then, the lawyers. And like, this is an episode that really feels like they put it all together in a really concise and like, it feels solid in a really solid way.
It felt all season like they were sourcing ingredients and they were like, we need ketchup, but we only could get the store brand. And it's like, no, well, I think we need Heinz for the recipe. And they're like, store brand is fine. But by the time you get to this episode, each ingredient has been like, they have found the correct ingredient. Do you know what I mean? Like they found the right garlic, they figured out the recipe, and now they're giving us a taste. And maybe they're not ready to give us the rest of the season at that culinary level, but they now know what they're doing. And I'm very excited because Season 2 is I feel like this kind of straight through.
Yeah. I think like they tried so hard they tried so hard to like not be Buffy that they were like kind of avoiding this kind of storytelling, but like you cannot be Buffy but still have like a serialized storytelling with reoccurring characters. Like, it can still be like that kind of storytelling without being Buffy.
I think they got so scared of it being Buffy that they like made these radical departures that like some of the things in Buffy were just tenets of good storytelling. We didn't need to mess with them. And I think but we get back to it. They figured it out. And like for a team that probably had 3 months notice from like the day, oh my God, we're doing a show to like, we're going to start shooting and stuff. And like a WB budget in the 90s, like it is a remarkable show. Like, I feel like I got some feedback on the earlier episodes because they weren't at this level, but like, bitch, they're now at this level.
Yeah, LaToya, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's interesting because like I was saying, after the pieces are like there. Like, I've Got You Under My Skin, I think it's a pretty underrated episode, actually. And like The Prodigal is also, it's with the flashbacks too, kind of trying to do what this episode's doing. Yeah. And Eternity, I think, is like a pretty, another underrated one that's like about this woman, this celebrity who is trying to stay young and relevant and trying to get Angel to turn her into a vampire. And I think like it's a combination of like, they're like almost to what works for the show. Yeah. And like they're just like almost there. And then like they really do flip the switch with this episode. And Faith is kind of like the missing piece because I've said it a million times before, like Faith's arc fully works because of the Angel sides of it. It's like the things they do on Angel are things they can't do for Faith on Buffy. It's necessary for her to be on the show, and it's necessary for the show to have Faith.
Do we know why she wasn't in more of it? Because it feels like a natural, like they put Wesley in this show. It feels like more natural to put Faith in this show. I mean, even with the comics, right? They end up with an Angel and Faith comic series.
Yeah.
I honestly, truly in my heart I will never resolve the fact that, first off, we never got a Spike spinoff. Clearly they had been hedging on that one for a long time. But second, the Angel spinoff, again, I love Angel. One of my favorite shows ever, period, unrelated to Buffy. However, it does feel sometimes when they're writing Faith, like this is what we wanted to be writing. And for some reason, Angel is not the vehicle to let them do that. And so Angel's at his best. And maybe it's because Angel was built specifically to be good caring for people, like the victim of the week or a love interest or something. And he is a great character for that. But he's at his best when he's empathizing with someone who's going through what he's going through, rather than when he's going through it on his own, outside of some really great flashback scenes. I think he's at his best when someone else is going through it. And it makes me think like, man, they loved Faith so much. There were so many other stories to tell. And it's her stuff on Angel's so great. And maybe it's just leaving me wanting more, and that's a good thing. But like, damn, this series, if it had been like, I don't know, if she had been able to be on it more for whatever reason behind the scenes she wasn't, it would have, I don't know, it's such a missed opportunity.
Well, she was a character that was never fully realized. She was always, because we only got her for season 3, and then we get her for, at least when they bring her back, they know how powerful she is, that they bring her back for like 2 episodes in each show, right?
Yeah.
And you really do have to watch this as like 4 back-to-back episodes. But we got her season 3, we've got her like 4 episodes here, and then we've got her season 4 for Angel, and then season 7. Okay, yeah. And it's like she's perfect to be a full-time cast member at any point.
No. But maybe it's best that she wasn't, because in truth,
it is not best. I disagree. No.
But in truth, her run is so like it's flawless. I love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
She always delivered on that.
LaToya, you always know, why do you think they wouldn't have had Eliza Dushku become at least more reoccurring? Do you think it's like a budget thing?
She's in the majority of season 3 of Buffy. Like, let's be honest about that. She's literally on the DVDs. But also, Eliza Dushku was a name and had a quote. And to add her to series regular, someone's getting demoted because of the money it would cost to make her series regular. Someone's getting demoted, first of all. Second of all, Eliza she didn't want to be boxed into just playing this character. That's probably why she or her people didn't want that. That's why she does True Calling. She instead of doing a Faith spinoff, which they wanted to do, she does True Calling. Like, she wanted to branch out. And not that she had like any disrespect to the show or she didn't love being part of the show, but like,
I think the common wisdom at the time was misguided, of the like, you don't like this belief that you'll be boxed in. It's like, people, that did happen to people, and I get why it was a real fear, but that just doesn't exist anymore. Like, I think
at the
now
time it did, though.
Totally. I wish that I wish more people had taken like a random chance, because I'm glad we got Rose McGowan on Charmed.
I mean, no one would expect that like David Boreanaz would be like the most booked cast member of this whole series, constantly on a multi-season show.
Yeah, totally.
No one expected that.
Yeah, you're totally right. I just wish we could go back in time and I could warn them, like I'm Marty McFly.
But so, okay, this episode opens with Angel and Wes are saving this Hispanic guy from these demons. Because there's like 4 different side plots, and I was looking at the writers, and they're not like, I was like, oh, was this written by a Buffy writer? But it's not. It's written by Jim Kauf. And this episode, and he's only written 3 episodes of Angel, which is wild.
That means he would have been the standard. You give a freelance episode to a writer not on staff. That's supposed to be how TV works every season. So he would have been probably the freelance writer. And it looks like he was promoted to a season 2 writer.
It's just wild, right? Because this is someone who knows these characters. This is someone who like, we get our like a couple of metaphors here, because we get the Angel flashbacks, which are important to be like, look, redemption.
But also, I'm noting he would have been a big deal writer. He wrote Rush Hour.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So we get like this story. We open on this story, which is like, oh, this like quote unquote thug isn't gonna testify. He doesn't blah, blah, blah. But they save him. They get him to testify. So Angel saves him. He's like, I hate saving the wrong guy. And then we get Faith's introduction coming out of a bus. I do like her coming literally out of the shadows.
With the chunky shoe.
Yeah. Faith loves a chunky. That is like, I always think of that with Faith because like the figure they put out of her like boot is the same thickness as like the bottom of her pants. And that's kind of accurate. That's like how Faith dresses. She beats up this man, which I was like, wait, does she kill him? But they do later on make, like Cordelia says, that man's in the hospital.
She beats up this man who's trying to sex traffic her, and then he is in the hospital. So I always ask, did Angel go to the hospital for the invite, or did he die in the hospital?
LaToya, I wrote that in my notes, and I was like, I wonder if it counts because Faith is like, quote unquote, living there now, if that's, and like she's been telling him to come get her, if that counts, or...
That does not count.
They really do play fast and loose with those rules sometimes.
I will say, though, that guy has a Sega Dreamcast, and that's rad as hell. He's cool.
He's a cool sex trafficker.
Tells her that, like, lots of new people come to town with no money, no place to stay. She beats him up and says, now I have a place to stay. And then post-credits, we get the flashback storyline with the Romani girl who I didn't even remember. I was like, is it just like showing he has a fetish for killing Romani girls, or is this the one? And then it was the one. And I kind of like the casual, like, because that's a big deal for Angel, like a flashback of Angel, right? To show like who he killed, that he got his curse / soul. Like, I feel like
this is lore.
Yeah. It's not just like, oh, look, him and Darla killed some people, which is what a lot of them are. This is like important. So we see like Darla's got him blindfolded. She surprises him with the Romani girl. And I do like that she's like, it's not just for you. I get to watch.
I love these flashbacks as vehicles for Julie Benz to be on the show all the time.
Yeah.
She's so good. She's so menacing.
She really is so good. LaToya, what do you think of like, I feel like they realize how good she was, right?
Oh, yeah. Literally on the season 2 DVD, J. August Richards calls watching Julie Benz like going to acting school.
100%.
I could totally see that. Because she like, her presence is so good because it's like she's got, you know, she's got that baby whisper voice, but it's like she still has, when she's on screen, you're like, fuck.
She's like a machine, like those little surgeon machines you see do like amazing little tiny work with micro precise. Like she's always like, she's like listening to every word every other person is saying. And it's so good. Whatever we do to keep her on the show, we got to bring her back to life 9 times. Great. It's so good. But I will say the scene is harder to watch. I watched this a bunch of times as a teenager, a few times as an adult, but I never really like, I guess, confronted myself with how sexual assaulty.
Yeah.
A lot of Angel's past is, and remembering that Faith is also a sexual assault like perpetrator and not even like alleged, like we saw her do rape. Like it's tough to like, I guess it really does test the ethos of the show, which you know, is a whole other discussion we don't have to jump all the way into yet, but like it does test the ethos of the show, which is like, if you have a soul, there's a person to redeem. Like there's a good enough person in there that it's worth seeking redemption, and it can be accomplished and all of that. And it's like, I guess it's just so much more confronting than it was before, because I like Faith and Angel, and it's similar with Spike. Like I don't think about those elements of the show because I think that they were used as plot devices at a time when I don't think people understood the impact of using those things as plot devices so flippantly, and not like making sure you've really lined up which characters. I don't know. In any event, it is harder to watch, and I kind of had to turn off the modern part of my brain for this flashback to work the way that I think they want it to work, which is that it's scary and it's threatening, but it's not as like, I don't know. To me, it would be hard for us to turn around and be like, okay, well, he's a good guy now, and he's going to redeem this other rapist on screen within 40 minutes. It's like, it feels a little too flippant. But if you kind of look at it through the eyes of the people at the time who might have had a more naive imagination of like what this metaphor was, it does work. I don't know. Does anyone else feel uncomfortable that way watching the scene?
I mean, I feel uncomfortable watching a lot of things from both shows nowadays, right? Is we get a lot of that. You do have to kind of turn off your modern lens and just like you said, and just watch it from kind of at the time. It.
Yeah, you just kind of have to picture what they were intending to write.
It's just you. And it sounds terrible saying, yeah, just turn your brain off and like ignore that part, but you kind of have to, don't you?
Yeah, and if you can't, totally, like there should be a trigger warning for the episode. But like, it's a weird thing to ask someone to do. But it is such a great episode, and there is so much value to like what the show does have to say about redemption and stuff like that, that I think it's worth powering through. I just wanted, especially in a scene that is really well written, you're right, and it doesn't hold itself up. There's no ceremony to it. Like we just kind of go right into like, well, this is the big one, you know what I mean? And like, I guess that's true of real world crimes, but I don't know. It felt flippant for the show, but at the same time, this is the best episode of the first season, so I guess it wasn't. You know what I mean? I don't know. It might just be my personal relationship and reaction to it, but it is a heavy thing to begin the episode with, and it does set a tone. And it does make the comedic moments later in the episode both totally necessary, but also like more difficult to land. But
yeah, and I do think it's presented that I agree with what you're saying. I do think it's presented that way on purpose because I think it's to show how awful he was. Like he was really terrible. Like him and Darla were like serial killers, right? Like.
I guess the gravity of like when I was a kid, I thought like, oh, it's sexy. He's biting her leg. Like he's a sexy main character. But now I'm like, first off, it's clearly a metaphor for sexual assault, obviously. But also he chose this spot that like is incredibly intimate and uncomfortable and charged that will not kill this woman immediately. Like it is really as written a horrifying death, you know? Yeah. And I guess that just didn't weigh into me. I didn't click into me. And I guess the violence of the show is so super and so clean sometimes that it doesn't, like the gravity of it doesn't hit you the way like The Walking Dead does.
Well, and the gravity of it really is like through both shows, we have almost every character who does something like pretty awful, and we have to watch their redemption arcs, right? And so I don't know where I fall on that. I don't know nothing. I like Buffy. I like, you know.
I don't know nothing.
But it is like, that's the reality of it, right? It's like it just was the time. I don't think they were thinking as seriously about it, which is so strange thinking of it now, you know.
Yeah. I actually disagree with you guys about
go ahead.
Turning off your brain. And I do think they were thinking about it pretty deeply. In fact, in terms of like, Angelus is a fucking monster, and they are portraying it as such. And the show especially does a lot. From the beginning, they've talked about how like the demon that takes over the body is not the human. It is a complete monster. It's a bastardization of the human. And then when Angel has his soul, it's not like, yes, he holds up the guilt or things he did, even though technically it is the demon that was inside of his body doing these things. And it goes out of its way later to like kind of separate the two literally to show like you have like the soul who you can argue is if it's actually Liam's soul or not. And then you have the demon itself that is Angelus. It's like, so it's not saying, well, how are we supposed to see this guy nowadays and think, oh, well, it's all forgiven now. It's like, because he was literally a different person. Even though Angel doesn't put that on himself, that technically is what it is.
But doesn't that undermine the like, if that's true and that's the interpretation, then doesn't that undermine the like message of the episode, which is that like you can be a bad person and have done horrible things? Like, then what is Angel relating to Faith over? Because Faith had a soul the whole time.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get into, which is that, yes, but Angel still, he takes up the guilt and he takes up the mantle of these things that were done, technically not of his hand. He takes responsibility. The thing that Faith has not done, and has not done since she accidentally killed a man, but she decided to double down and triple down and lean in. She has not taken responsibility. And that is the difference here. Angel will take responsibility for, like, Angelus could have, like, killed all the puppies in the world, and then Angel would get his soul back and be like, I'm so sorry I killed all the puppies in the world, even though we know he did not do that. Whereas Faith could accidentally kill one puppy and she would say, I did it and I loved it, even though that's not the case. Because she just wants to say, I'm sorry I killed all the puppies. it really is about accountability, and that's something that Faith has been running away from. She literally, she had a breakthrough when she was like trying to kill her body when she was in Buffy's body, and she was like, nope, don't want to feel that, run away. And she's hoping that, you know, Angel will kill her so she doesn't have to, she can continue to like not be accountable and run away, and still it won't happen. So like finally she has to be accountable.
LaToya, you brought up a point that I hate bringing up because I do love this episode. The only thing that bothers me about this episode is that it sometimes feels like the person didn't watch the Buffy season 4 episodes when they wrote this, because we do end with Faith wanting to kill Buffy in her body, but like talking to Buffy in her body as if it's her, right? And she's like, you're disgusting, you're nothing, blah, 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 blah. And like, that felt like a turning point. And so I just wish there had been something between that and this to go back to like, yes, she will mug a man and almost murder him to just take his apartment. Yes, she will go to a club and listen to Rob Zombie's Living Dead Girl while she like beats the shit out of everyone in the club and causes chaos. Like, it feels a little bit like a step backwards, which I know in reality does happen with people, but I just wish there was like, you know, it's like she came to it, but then suddenly she's like literally torturing Wesley. I have trouble with that.
That's what she does. So I think it does make sense in the context of the episode. It's like, well, I'm not going to face this. I'm going to do this, this, and this instead of facing it. She literally comes face to face with Wesley, and she just keeps blaming him for everything when she really wants to blame herself. And she's furious, like he won't fight back pretty much because, again, she knows she's wrong and she knows she's bad, she's evil. But at the same time, she doesn't want to confront that truly. So she's like, I want them to lash out at me because that's the only thing that makes sense.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so the accountability thing, I think, you, like, so spot on there, right? And they were absolutely giving all of that thought to Angel, but I more my question is about all of the other characters throughout this entire, like, universe, right? Like, we get some of our favorite characters doing some really fucked up shit sometimes, and do you think they were giving, and I don't think I have an opinion on it either way, just formed just yet, but do you think they were giving that much thought that they were giving to Angel? Because I do agree with you, right? They were thinking this through, and we have to see how bad Angel is to see all of, you know, different person, everything you just said, LaToya. But like for everybody else, do you think they were thinking of that with every other character as well?
Well, it depends on the season, because Willow can literally almost end the world, but Anya becomes a vengeance demon again, and Buffy's like, gotta kill her. So,
and those aren't like different people either, you know. So like these are people that were made to look at, you know, through a heroic lens a little bit later.
And I think because redemption is really the story of Angel, I think they do it a hell of a lot better than Buffy does, especially in those later 2 seasons of Buffy, because there is a reason why I do not ship Spike and Buffy. There's a big reason, but he has a soul now.
In this episode, we see Angel do the exact same thing he did to the Romani woman, but he didn't kill her, but he did like terrorize, maybe kill the men she was with, or at least badly injure them, and drink from her in what we are all agreeing is like a very sexualized, if not like a sexual assault, like definitely a metaphor for something adjacent. And we see him do that in this episode as like a misguided, obviously he regretted it immediately. It was what he sort of learned as a vampire. Like I think all this stuff it's just really heavy, and I think maybe it's the context of the show, and I've gotten older and moved on, but something about the aesthetics just seems to romanticize the sexual assault, and we don't really there's like so much focus on his side of it. I guess I just found the whole thing really uncomfortable to watch, and maybe it's not that it doesn't fit in plot-wise, maybe it's just that it just tonally, it's tough to open an episode with. And then like I feel like it hangs over the rest of the episode.
I think I get why you're hung up on like the focus on his side of it. Obviously, it's because it's a thing we talk about on Vampire Diaries on the originals, where it's like your protagonist, it was like the big bad of like season 3 and season 4 of Vampire Diaries. How are you like focusing on this villain basically as your quote unquote hero? And like there's a lot of like, it's really hard to do that, especially in the first season. And I think with Angel, obviously, when you go through the Angela stuff, you're not just gonna get like the fun quips and like guy liner and leather. You have to go through like the really, really toxic and dark stuff. So the show has to find that balancing act, obviously. but also it's like because he's Angel and is Angelus, and like the Angelus we were introduced to obviously is very evil, but you know, in like a cool, sexy way. It seems like, oh, so are they always romanticizing him? Which I don't think they necessarily are, but I think that is the default like feeling because like he's your lead, he's your WB heartthrob lead.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Fuck. Damn, these shows are so deep. These shows rip. There's always so much to talk about in every episode. God damn it. Anyway, sorry.
No, it's a lot.
I'm feeling like a lot. Yeah. Even in the middle of this, I was like, maybe we shouldn't even put this out because I clearly am getting emotional. But like, there's so much in these episodes. It's like, God, this show's so important. God.
It's like there are a lot of really great points brought up too. You know, like this is a lot of really good stuff to think about as well. And I love the accountability aspect of it. And so. Yeah, this is an accountability episode.
That part of it is written so well. Like this episode really does send a message of why accountability is important, not just for the victims and the rest of the world, but for you, the person who maybe did something that you need to be accountable for.
Yeah.
And I think that part of it, it's like it takes off like a shot. Sorry, where are we in the plot? I feel like
Angel does the whole. We get the opening credits right, and then Angel does. What is he doing with Marquez? Trying to convince him to go testify, but then he's like slapping him around to do it. So what do we see here? Angel still evil.
So I do like that. The thing I really like, and I'm going to try very hard not to talk about the second episode a lot because I know we're talking about 5 by 5, but I do really like that this episode begins with Wesley. Wesley's more in the realm of you can be redeemed. Like Wesley and Cordy are talking about the guy that he's shaken down in his office, and Cordy's like kind of judgmental with like, oh, he has tattoos, he's not going to testify. And
I was like racist.
I know. Absolutely. But Wesley is more of the camp of you can be redeemed, and I like that. Then we get the switch in the second episode where it's Angel thinking that, and Wesley's like, fuck Faith.
Because his emotions.
So. Yeah.
Because he got cucked again.
Yeah. So then we cut to Faith, and Zach, this is the Rob Zombie song that I mentioned in our last Halloween recording. The song she dances to is a Rob Zombie song.
I love this part so much. It is got to be one of my favorites of the episode. It just Eliza is just so good, isn't she? As Faith and
oh my god,
yes, like every scene she's in, she like completely overpowers any other actor that could be in the room with her.
When she's like in the background and then even like just a tiny face, it's where your eyes go. She's so good at it.
Yeah,
I miss her. I miss Eliza.
Yeah.
Well, and like this character, it's wild, but she was like made for this character, right? Like
the acting. She is so good at just the Faith little mannerisms. Because sometimes you'll get the actors, they'll do the lines. It's a really good line. They say it really well. Great comedic timing and everything. She has little mannerisms she does as she's doing things, right? When she says, I don't see his name on him. Why did she open his shirt and look down his shirt? That is just a little thing that she did.
Familiarity.
It's just like
she
so
has a familiarity.
Good. That like we know that is what Faith would do.
Yeah.
She's not even living in the character where she's like, oh, I have my character's history and their accent and blah, blah, blah. And she's not even like making choice to choice moments. She's like familiar with the relationship her character has with the person in the other scene all the time, which is the thing that's so hard to prepare for. And like, it's so indicative of like great instincts. And I just fuck CBS, man. God, Eliza Dushku forever.
Guys, remember when actors had charisma?
Right?
Yeah.
It makes the work shine so much more.
Well, and like she's just like you said, Zach, in this scene, it's wild that it's like she's just like dancing and causing chaos, but like the way it's like, yeah, if a guy comes up, she'll beat him up, but she's still like having fun, right? Like we see like she's like just dancing. She's feeling herself.
She full power fantasy.
Yeah, she looks gorgeous as she's like causing all this chaos. Like
when she's dancing at the very end, when she's dancing and everybody's fighting around her and we're spinning around her, like the line between actor and character is just not even there anymore, right? Yeah. I like look at her in that and I'm like, there might as well not even be a camera in the room, right? Like this is Faith. Just through and through.
Yeah, it's so good.
And the question is she even actually having fun, or is she just trying to relive the good times? And as soon as she leaves, she's going to be like,
she's absolutely trying to relive the good times. I have that pointed here in my notes. Yes.
Yeah,
she wishes she was clubbing right now with Rogue and Buffy and Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, I've like, this is an on purpose like callback to her and Buffy dancing, right? Like I feel like
so good. I get chills every time I watch it.
Yeah. So we cut to court, and it is wild that this is Lindsay's second appearance, because he feels like a character who's been here the whole time.
He's got a lot of screen time in this too.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is his second appearance, and then this is also Lila's, because she shows up in the ring. That's her first appearance.
Yep.
So, yeah, and wasn't Lee the one who set up like the sensitivity stick thing? Yeah. So yeah, Lee the dud of the three.
I know. the one who will soon be dead by the end of the season.
I felt like this episode literally called him a faggot. It just like
yes.
Oh, you also got a vibe.
Yeah. But so we get Lindsay's back, and like again, I feel like the show was like, oh, this does work, because it's so much better if we know the lawyers and they're not all just like faceless randos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really just does. And like, man, Lila and Lindsay, like, I forget how good they are together.
God.
Because
best.
like, you know,
like Spike and Drew.
Yeah. Like we spend more time with Lila, but like, I forget, like, yeah, they just like have very good chemistry, and they're both very good actors in these roles.
Oh my God.
So we get Lindsay, he's in court. He says he's, doing all the lawyer talk, saying they don't even have a witness. Enter Angel and the witness. And Lindsay loses the case. We see he's talking to someone, saying like how it was Angel. And then we reintroduce Lee Mercer and Lila Morgan. And it really is like, he's like, he is like the like gay one they shit on.
And then he gets a little sassy, and then the fact that his like that this white woman thoroughly puts him in his place is so it was chef's kiss to the LA of it all. It was magical. And then when they were like, I guess we're gonna be 3 for dinner, I was like, this is so good. Oh my God.
So we cut back to Angel investigations. We do a lot of cutting back and forth. I'm going to try to condense some of this. But so that's when Cordelia takes the call about the divorce. She's like, we don't normally take those cases, blah, blah, blah. Angel comes in. We find out that Angel's like saying they won. And I do like her saying, are you happy? You can tell he's happy because his scowl is less scowly. Like, because when they cut to him, it's almost like an Edward and Twilight thing. He's just like looking at her, and it's like, dude, she asked you a question. You're just not responding.
That's what he does a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah. Lila has basically scooped Lee Mercer, and we cut to Lila and Faith walking outside the club. And like, Stephanie Romanoff is very good in this scene, I think, because she plays off the like, I am a little scared, but I'm still going to speak with confidence.
The way she says diamonds.
Right.
Heterosexuality activated.
And like, I just like that, like, Faith is kind of threatening her, and she is, Lila probably on the inside is like, well, she can kick my ass, but let me make sure she doesn't. And is just trying to like talking her way out of it. And I don't know. I really like that. And when like Faith pushes her up against the fence, she's like, I don't even know anything about you. And she's like, my favorite color is green and I look good in diamonds. And it's like, fuck, I love her. The limo pulls.
And I loved the limo pulling up, and I want to comment here that like in Angel's scene where he's trying to get someone to work with him, he's coercing him through like, a little roughing him around, keeping him in his place, whatever, authentic, honest. But the aesthetics of evil involved like a limousine and like wood paneling, and I did like that. I thought that was a fun moment.
Yeah, Marquez should have got to ride in a limo.
100% Marquez deserves a limo. Faith deserves to be roughed around a little.
We get another cut back to Darla. This episode's so packed with people, and I love that she immediately is like, what's wrong with you? Like, she can tell that something has changed.
She asked him if he's met someone else, and I'm like, damn, girl.
That was weird. That was like, I don't know. I didn't like this part.
I liked it just because I almost, and I don't know if this makes sense, it's like we're putting a little puzzle together, right?
Yeah.
Like, we've seen the scene of him literally getting cursed. Mm-hmm. We didn't see what happened with Darla and whatever after. LaToya, I do have a timeline question for you.
Yes.
So Spike and Drusilla they would have been in the picture, wouldn't they have by this point?
They are literally, because there is a flashback. I think they show it in season 2 episode Darla, I believe, where she goes to the Romani people to uncurse him, and then it turns out Spike ate a bunch more Romani people.
Oh yeah.
And then Spike like comes out of like a cart, and he's like killed more.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so they're around.
Okay.
They just wanted to get away from the children for a bit.
I was like, wait, but she tells him to get out, but they would have been the Fantastic Four at that point.
They reunite at the Boxer Rebellion.
Right.
But yeah. I do like her asking, did you meet someone else? Because remember, she left her father, the master, for him. And then he just was like, you dumped? How embarrassing.
How embarrassing. So she kicks him out, and then we do see later we get a scene of him like he's like, they think he's like begging for money, but I don't actually know what he's doing when he goes up to those Romani folks, right? Like he's just like kind of like
he seems like he's like in a daze, like he's hallucinating, he's got voices in his head. Like we are supposed to believe he's under some like terrifying influence, and I think he doesn't know what he wants.
He hasn't, I'm guessing, much like this, he hasn't been able to feed, you know, so he's like, okay, I'm going to do it this time.
Okay, that's fair, yeah. And we get the scene. Zach, I don't know if you noticed, I thought the camera work was pretty good when he bites her, because it like is like panning up, but it's a downward shot. I thought it looked kind of cool.
Where are we at?
I'm trying to condense the flashback scenes.
Sorry, my notes are like everywhere then. Describe the scene.
Also, are those Romani people? Because they seem like society people.
Right, they do. You're right. I don't know.
Because I don't think this is like recently. I think this is like a little bit after that.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense.
You just fucked up some random aristocrat's niece's night.
Yeah, they got what they deserved.
I like it.
So,
class warfare is what I call it.
Yes, I know I get where we were at. Yes, the camera work was very nice.
So we got to Wolfram and Hart. I do like the scene of them with Faith. I don't like, it's like silly, but when Lee Mercer does like the lawyer speech and she's like, what? And he's like, payment. She's like, oh, okay. Like, I do like that. And I like that they are a little bit on edge with her. And Lee Mercer maybe is the only one who isn't, but then he gets his head like, she does like a Michael Myers thing, Zach. That's what I was thinking of. She's just like bashing his head on that table.
I mean, she embarrassed him.
And yeah, like Lila and Lindsay just like casually leaning on the desk, watching her like beat the ever-loving shit out of their coworker.
I mean, I was doing that too as I was watching this scene. Like, it's just magical to watch her in action, isn't it?
It really is. And like, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, LaToya, right? But this is like the office they use a lot, right? Like this set is like the Wolfram and Hart office we will see.
Yeah, this to be one of their standard suites for
like this particular office, yeah.
Then we cut to Cordelia, Angel, and Wesley talking about the divorce case. They're like in the like, I don't know what the fuck that is,
courthouse, right?
Is it a courthouse? Okay. And I like that as they're talking, I mean, Ryan, you pointed this out, you do see Faith come up, right? Mm-hmm. Like she's there. She's very clearly there. She's just not in focus, but you're looking at her. She looks gorgeous. She has a fucking big crossbow. Yeah, Zach, what'd you think of the scene?
No, I loved it. I thought it was wild that nobody seemed to panic around them. I think there was one person who maybe gave her a look as she was exiting the door. But I mean, I love all of the little playful stuff with Faith, right? It's like she knew she wasn't going to kill him right there. But she's like, she's poking. And I love it.
You're right. It is like she's playing. Like she's just like having fun. And I like that Wesley and Cordelia are like completely stunned. Like they're just like frozen.
Listen, when Faith shows up into town, it doesn't matter if it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Angel, people freak out. Like, remember when she escaped the hospital and she's like watching them through the window and they get a call that she's out of the hospital and they're like, oh shit, Faith is somewhere around. But like Faith like really does inspire fear in people. You know, when they hear her name, when later on, we're not there yet, but when later on, when like Cordelia gets like knocked in the face, she wakes up like terrified.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I like that Angel catches the arrow. I like that. You're right, Zach. It's like Faith is like gonna have fun with it. Like she's just like, oh, cool, you caught it. This is gonna be fun, and like runs out.
She's like,
yeah,
and she ran into a little sunny door, which I thought was such a cute, quick way to just be like, they're not running after her.
I mean, it's not a window. It's not a window. She got 2 windows in this one. She gets the door at least once.
And like Cordelia's line of like pretty lively coma. I was like, don't say coma, Cordelia.
I was shocked because this is the first time they see her, right? I was shocked that it had been a week and nobody called these bitches.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Once the sun's blacked out in Los Angeles, no one's going to call and be like, hey, are you guys okay?
They need an apocalypse Discord room.
They do, yeah.
Just a group chat, maybe, like something. Hey, Faith on the loose. And then, they like, oh, details?
OMG.
And nobody answers, Just something.
WTF?
Angel and Willow should be pen pals, and they should write to each other about the goings-ons in their town.
Hot chicks they know.
Wild.
We cut back to Angel investigations. Angel gets off the phone with Giles. I feel like there are a couple episodes where it's like, ooh, just got off the phone with Giles. We never like actually see Giles on Angel, but I think there's at least 2, if not 3 times when it's like, ooh, I just finished talking to Giles. He said
there's a lot of those, a lot of phone calls. Everybody's calling each other, but nobody's saying anything.
Everybody's doing phone calls these days.
And they're like, I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't know.
Yeah. The demons, force of darkness,
So I love that, like, this is when Wesley's like, Faith is a sick girl. She's in need of help. And Angel is like, no, she's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, LaToya, you've covered a lot more of Angel than we have. Wesley is like softer here. And I just like that even by the end of this, he changes his like decision, like how he feels about it.
Yeah.
Going into the next episode. And I know that you don't like how Buffy's written in the next episode. I have watched both these episodes a lot to try to get photo ideas because I really had no idea what to do for Sanctuary. I don't blame Buffy for how she feels about Faith in the next episode. And I feel like I like that Wesley is also kind of feeling the same way we get that Buffy feels eventually. Like,
I mean, I don't technically blame Buffy, but it's specifically the way Buffy is written when she is in LA, because this is also the case in I Will Remember You after she has her memory wiped. She's just a huge bitch.
Yeah, she's a bitch. Every single line begins with the intention of my number 1 objective is to come off as a bitch, and then my number 2 objective is to get what I want.
It's to cut Angel down, or in this case, also to cut Faith down.
Yeah, and it spills over onto Cordelia and a bunch of people in scenes that like it doesn't need to, and it makes Buffy come off as uglier than Buffy is.
Yes, she has very much a reason to be angry and upset and hurt, but the way that she is written is that there's like it goes a cut above that.
All right, that's fair.
Yes.
But so I do like when Angel's like, well, I tried to rehabilitate her, but some British guy, and Cordy's like, you can't blame Wesley for some British guy. Oh, that was you. Continue. Angel kind of like, he uses his top voice and is like, I'm your boss. I'm sending you guys away, blah, blah, blah. What do we think about that? Because I was like annoyed, but I also understood because Faith is super dangerous, right?
I mean,
she doesn't care about collateral damage.
Yeah. She is dangerous, but like, am I being paid enough to be told what to do? I don't know. That's the question. She's like one of 2 Slayers. So yeah, like when somebody tells you the Slayer's out there and trying to kill everybody, she's coming for us. She already showed up at the courthouse. She's coming for you 2. So it was weird that he even let them out of like his side.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not like she's a vampire where you can like at least use a cross or like holy water to like fend her off. Like if she wants to hurt you, she will hurt you.
Yeah.
I think Angel still needs to accept that he's on a team in this episode, and that means even the like deep stuff, even the stuff that's like the crying in the rain with Faith stuff, it's gonna concern them. And it's not just like, she's not just like your receptionist. That's not like the agreement you've all made with each other because you're doing important work. So like, I think it's the dismissal of the like, get out of here. I don't want to deal with you. It's like, give me something to do. Can I work on a contingency plan? Can I go be protected somewhere? Like, give me an assignment of something I can do. Tell me what you think or feel about me, because I'm on this team with you. And it does everybody a disservice to act like we're not. And if we're not, then we're not. But like, we clearly are. I'm clearly going to help you. So like, I think he gets better at it as the show goes on, at being like, okay, you guys go through these books, or you go research this other thing, or be protected here, as opposed to just being like, well, go back to your apartment and vibe. What?
To be fair, though, he doesn't know yet that she's working with Wolfram and Hart, so he wouldn't know that she would have the resources to know, hey, where does Cordy live? Hey, where does Wes live? Like,
she could figure that out easy. She could just literally stalk behind them on the way home.
Yeah, she could do that, but like she was ahead of the case because she had the backup.
Right, right, yeah. So we do get, like, they do leave. We get Angel. Oh no, Angel, like, his office is super bright and Faith is there with a gun. I do like, then she's like, this is your chance. And she throws the gun at him that he shoots immediately. Like, I did like that. But she notices he didn't shoot to kill, and then she shoots him.
Like, she flips out a window.
I love the reveal. Wait, I loved the reveal that when she shoots that there is a bullet, because it speaks to, like, this was Russian roulette. She didn't have this whole thing scripted. She's just a chaos agent. And it's such a good reminder that, like, that's why people fear her. Not because she's so evil and she'll do things, but because she's so dumb that she'll introduce chaos into shit that, like, maybe she's not pot committed to this.
See, I think it's like, she was probably like, well, if he kills me, all right, that's fine. Like, I feel like she just, like, didn't give a shit.
Because she's been going there the whole episode, right? Like,
yeah. So I do like that. Yeah, she jumps out another window. Then we get, and LaToya, do we get much detective costume wearing Angel later on? I don't think we do, right?
No.
Okay.
I love the occasional, like, I love him in a caper or
I was gonna say, where's the one? It's like the Shroud of Amon where he's like playing like the gangster vampire. Like that's like the extent, I believe.
But we also have Hawaiian shirt guy.
Well, that's earlier in the season.
Yeah. So he breaks into Wolfram and Hart, but he doesn't really right? There's no new information really gained here, right?
No, I think he's just having fun.
He's
just doing Harriet the Spy. No, I think that there was a chance he wanted to. I think he wanted a conversation with them and to show them that he could, like, play their little game or, like, you know, show up, be sneaky, whatever.
Yeah.
Clearly it didn't work, but I think they both knew there wasn't, like he said, like, we could unleash a bunch of horrors at you right now and do a big fight and whatever, and I'm sure you'd do great. But, like, is this what we're going to do right now, or don't we both have bigger fish to fry? And I do understand. I feel like it made sense. I think it was just an extra fun thing for the episode because it's such a great episode that the writers were like, why not throw another twist in there? Like, you know what I mean? What's great about this episode is every scene is fun on its own with or without the plot development that happens in it.
Yes.
And I think they just had an idea for another fun thing, and that's awesome because it works plot wise and it makes sense, you know, but I don't think this was the most necessary scene.
Well, and I guess maybe it's like to reintroduce Lindsay and Angel's relationship almost, right?
Like a dynamic, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fucking homoerotic as shit.
God.
But he was like, oh, you'd remember her. She's strong. She's got brown hair. Like something like me, you know? I was like, damn.
I'll see you again real soon. It's like, yeah, you guys are gonna fuck later? Like,
yeah, you can see each other at the sauna. I'm sure you will. Sure you will.
Then we cut to Cordelia's apartment. I love the like Phantom Dennis, right? Like,
I love
he's just
Dennis
trying to help them. Like, fuck.
They should have found a way to like transfer Dennis from the apartment to the hotel later on.
They really should have.
Like he's haunting a specific brick, and they bring
Yeah. See, solutions.
And what happens in the apartment, Zachary?
Faith is there because we knew that was going to happen, right? Because she would obviously show up where they were, and she takes him out pretty quick. You know, it's her punches are always her punches, her elbows, her everything is always so brutal and so violent. And, and they feel harder than, you know, we get fight scenes every episode, don't we? But like anytime she hits somebody, it feels like even harder than Buffy's punches. Mm-hmm. And she elbows Cordelia real hard, you know,
real hard. I know.
The fight choreo philosophy for her and every character on both shows, but for her specifically, is always so cohesive and it holds together through the seasons, and it's a delight to see every time. Even when she just throws an elbow, I'm like, yeah, that's how Faith would throw an elbow.
I like that when Wesley punches her. The thing I like is that Faith is always impressed when someone weaker fights back, right? Like Faith knows her prey. Like she knows if the person's weaker than her, but she will be, even though she might fucking kill you, she's going to be impressed that you fought back. So she's like,
I love that personal backstory touch of like, it's so good.
Because like she could snap both of them like twigs, right? Like there's Wesley,
this is so stupid. On Real Housewives of Beverly Hills last night, they showed a scene where one housewife invited another housewife and said, "But of course, I don't expect you to accept my invitation, and I wouldn't respect you if you did." And she says, "I'm not accepting your invitation. I might show up, but I'm not accepting your invitation." And I was like, this is the kind of pathos you only get from things that really understand their characters. And I think like the Faith thing, it's so great. A perfect example of like, if she's fighting against someone weaker than her, she fights differently. And it's so fun.
Yeah.
She's frantic when it's against someone bigger than her.
Yes.
When it's against someone smaller than her, there's like a cockiness to it that is a weakness.
Yeah. And also you realize how kind of weak Wes and Cordy are without Angel there, right? Because like you are scared for them when Faith is in that apartment.
Why are they being just sent out, all willy-nilly by themselves? At least Angel, pay for some security. Do something. Right?
Or Cordelia, find a way to accessorize like a mace.
Accessorize a mace. And so she knocks Wesley across the room. And then we get that other flashback that we already talked about. Angel comes into the apartment and like, Cordelia,
I hate this. I hated it. I don't like to see Cordy because this was the level of terror that I was talking about earlier, is that she wakes up like horrified at what just happened. Like she got her ass beat, and she's been hit before. She's been in situations before. Right. But this was like a level of terror that I am very uncomfortable seeing.
I know.
Come across Cordelia.
I'm like, she does very good. The like frantic, scared, like. She's just like having word vomit. She's telling Angel she's crying. She's freaking out. And I like that her beat of, and wait, where's Wesley? How's he doing? And it's like, fuck, Wesley's not there.
Wesley's dead. Dead.
I do like that Cordelia also in this story and in other stories similar to this, she seems to understand when she's out of her emotional depth.
Yes.
Like she doesn't open her mouth and be like, well, this is what this bitch needs to do. Right. She's like, I don't know about any of that mess. I'm going home.
Cordelia does not fuck with Faith, like at all. Not friends, not they in the original show. They were not anything that she did not want to be in the room with
Yes. And I think she should have more compassion for her, maybe, but outside of that, not a dumb move on Cordelia's part. I think that was a clever judge of character.
LaToya, what'd you think of this scene?
I mean, Cordy's poor bruised face.
Right? I hate to see it.
Yeah.
Then we find out that we find out where Wesley is. Faith has captured him. She is torturing him, and like, I don't know. This gives me a little pause for like what story they're, and I get they're trying to make it a morally ambiguous. Like, can you redeem someone who has done this? I have trouble with forgiving her, remembering what she just did on Buffy, seeing what she did to Wesley and Cordelia. Like, I have trouble being like, yes, let's sit around and be happy with her and like tell her things will be okay.
I think I have compassion for her, and I believe that in time I could move past or forgive her character, even if it was reality, like if I was living there. Mm-hmm. Do I think in time maybe I could? Yeah, I do. I try to.
We've had
20 what's the point
years.
Of life? What is the point of life if you don't let people move on? However, it's a little fast, and also, but I know we're in a television show. I get it, but also I think she has to get some ties and like lack of a better non-pun word stakes to her life and to the world. Like she needs to put down some roots and to understand even what an apology is, what responsibility means, like, and I think we get there with her. But in this moment, I understand your feeling, Ian, and I think we're meant to feel. I don't think we're meant as the audience to totally understand.
Yeah.
Unless you have a personal connection, they haven't walked us there yet. But that's okay because we have the rest of the show to do that, which they do. But I understand what you're saying. Of like, in the way that the opening of this episode left me unsettled. Maybe that's the point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe you're supposed to not want to forgive her right now. And thankfully the show gives you the grace to be able to do it later. We don't just kill her off, you know?
Well, I mean, especially the characters, like, they have to do it quickly, right? They have to do the forgiveness thing. They have to do the shepherding her into some sort of understanding and some sort of, like, redemption arc, because she is a natural-born killer. She is a slayer. If they don't do that for her right now, she's off killing more people, right? There is it's a very time-sensitive situation.
And any sort of, like, I think the prison metaphor eventually in the show is great for her, because any prison they build, she's just going to make it her mission to break out of. Like, the only solution for Faith right now is, like, wisdom, introspection, time spent, you know, redeeming yourself, trying, like, failing. Like, and I think maybe, I mean, the show really does speak to, like, only a certain kind of person who's been through that understands what she needs. But I do think we as the audience want her to be in a super cage on a floating, you know, we want her to go to Arkham. But, like, the truth is, maybe the Joker would stop being that, oh, we're going to get into abolition theory here. I did not mean to do that so quickly. But maybe the Joker is the Joker because they keep locking him in Arkham.
I think it's slightly different.
I don't know. I think I understand the idea of, like, if you were to give superpower, or if you were to put Faith back in a coma, you're not solving the Faith problem.
Mm-hmm. True. I think also the difference between, like, Batman mythology and Buffy.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lack of bats in Buffy.
Yes, I'm not trying to take sociopathic clowns literally in this. I'm just using it as a metaphor. Sorry. I'm not taking the Batman of it all seriously.
She fell into a big old bat and now she's evil.
I don't endorse my Batman.
But I've always felt for Faith, like, since Buffy, because I think, and again, it's why I say Angel is the better show for the Faith arc overall, to technically complete, even though she does eventually go to Buffy again after Angel, is because of their understanding of forgiveness, and, like, how, like, Buffy obviously learns about shades of gray and, like, is not black and white, but Angel is a much grayer show, and, like, my issue from Buffy, as much as I love Buffy season 3, and, like, it's beautiful, it's like, every time I rewatch it, I'm just like, you guys are doing absolutely the wrong thing with Faith. You are missing out on this cry for help. Buffy, let her live in your goddamn home.
Yes.
Hotel.
Yes.
She clearly is not happy she killed this man. She's clearly freaked out. Buffy, you were right there with her. She was clearly freaked out.
And it could have been Buffy a million times.
Yeah. They handle it all the wrong way. And then when Buffy, I think it's even in the next episode, where she's like, I tried to be your friend. I'm like, footage not found. When the shit went down, you were like, oh no, this bad influence.
I invited you to Christmas one time. And, like, smug fucking suburban
Joyce Summers, it was already uncomfortable having one a Slayer in her house. She was not about to have 2 Slayers in her house.
We know there's just no room because of the dog.
Little defense on this. So Buffy is really a show where we're kind of going along with her, right? Season to season, we're growing up with her. Angel already has all of this, like, we're going into it with a character who has like hundreds of years of knowledge.
He's already grown.
Yes. So little defense there, but, like, yes. Let Faith live in the house.
Exactly. Let her live in the house. Let her live in the goddamn house.
That's all she needed, right?
So would have helped.
Oh my god, I would love to build Faith a tiny house. Sorry, keep going.
I just need a big take at
that. We see that, like, Cordelia and Angel are mapping out places Faith has been, like, reportedly seen. That's how we figure out that's how, like, they get to where Faith is, right? That's how Angel can get there. Again, maybe if it was like, we didn't see, like, a bloody piece of broken glass to, like, say that she had just been cutting up his body, because I know that I would also, I think it is the immediacy of it. I think you're right, Ryan. It's like, this just happened. Like, this just happened. So, like, no, if I were Wesley and I was tied to a chair and, like, sliced open with pieces of glass, I would be like, no, I'm not forgiving this person the next day.
You would never forgive them. Never.
Damn right I wouldn't.
I don't think Wesley's taken full accountability for what a shitty fucking watcher he was. Yeah. Even, like, when he's trying to say, I was her watcher, I feel bad for her. Like, he's still not taking accountability for how much he fucked it up.
Yes.
And that is, as far as why she's torturing, it's like, maybe I'll blame him and maybe that will make me feel better. Obviously, it's not making her feel better. But, like, obviously he has a reason to be upset with
everyone but Angel, who has, and I mean this first part, who has offered to help Faith, the only person who has actually extended her any actual help at all is Angel. Maybe Giles, maybe, but he participated in a lot of shit with the social dynamics of that group that was pretty abusive and exploitative of a poor, lonely, orphaned girl.
Oh, absolutely. When like Buffy is like going to tell Giles what happened with Faith and everything, and Faith lies and everything, and he's like, okay, I know she's lying, but we can't let her know. Like, dude, that's not the way to go about this.
It's terrible. She just was treated horribly all the way around. And, you know, she has this weird, fucked up swirly swirl going around in her head where it is like she's cutting him up too. She's trying to piss everybody off. She's trying to get herself killed, right? That's one hand. Another hand is like she is trying to like get herself. The only time she was really ever kind of taken care of was under the mayor, which as fucked up as that is, right?
True.
So maybe she's trying to like get back to that. Well, when I was killing people, when I was doing really bad shit, that's when I was being taken care of. Maybe if I just keep doing this, maybe I could. Yeah. Is this her apartment, by the way?
No, it's the guy's apartment.
This is the guy's whose apartment?
It's the sex trafficker's apartment.
She really got his apartment. Okay.
This is when I saw the Dreamcast. And you know what? Earlier I said he was cool and rad. I'm now choosing to leave it as canon that the first thing Faith did was go out and buy a Dreamcast for her new apartment.
On his credit card?
Yes. So in fact, she's cool and rad. Sorry.
So Angel bursts in. They have a fight that I think I couldn't
find. Don't breeze past
it.
This one. Don't breeze past it.
Did you say do or don't?
Don't breeze past it. We got to get into this one. We got to get into it.
I think, is it scored almost the same score as Buffy and Faith's fight from Graduation Day Part 1?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm glad we all okay.
Like the juices I was feeling, you know, it got me real hype. I had to stand up while I was watching it.
Endorphins activating.
Yes. She's just so like, and this is what I'm really excited to see with Buffy and Faith as well, is because Buffy's real good with choreography as well, and especially when Buffy and Faith are together with choreography, it's magic. Yeah. But even Faith on her own is just like, I just every time I'm blown away. I have to rewind it, have to watch it again. You know, when I was a kid, when I would watch these things, I'd have to go in the backyard and like do kicks on trees and shit like that. You know, all of those.
I wish the culture had been in a place, etc., for Eliza Dushku to have made so many martial arts movies.
Yes.
To play the bad guy, the good guy. Oh my God, with dancing, musical numbers, her body, and I mean, it's the whole team over there. The fight scenes are so entertaining. And on so many shows, and I'm sorry, all apologies to the Marvel fandom. I own so much merch, you can't get mad. Their fights are less dynamic to me a lot of the time, especially on the TV shows. Every fight comes alive, but like in particular, obviously Eliza's great, but they just have like this. They took every nuance really seriously, and they really painted creatively with the colors they had. It makes the episode, really takes, it elevates, by taking that stuff so seriously, it elevates every other part of the episode, the script, the acting, everything. And it's really great. And I think what's awesome about it is that it mirrors the other fight scene. And when the rain kicks in, when we're outside, we go out the window, the rain kicks in. It's just like, you could tell everyone on set had love for what the fight team had made there.
Because it all happens.
The lighting. This. I mean, it's so spectacular for a TV show in the 90s. Like, this is fucking crazy. It's so good. Sorry, I just gosh.
According to the trivia, they wanted to do rain, but it was like, no, it's too expensive. And then it ended up raining actually legit.
Oh, yeah, God said, rain. Let there be faith.
Yeah. Real rain, none of that fake shit.
Yeah.
Damn. Thank your local coven, bitch. Thank your local coven.
LaToya, I want you to know I was literally waiting to say that. I was like, I'm gonna goop everyone and let them know.
Somebody did, because that has filled me with so much light and joy today.
Yeah, I do. Like, that is wild that they wanted it, they couldn't get the rain, and then it actually fucking rained. Like, what are the chances?
Fucking LA.
Yeah, like
maybe it's why that rain looks so good too. TV rain, that rain looked so good. I could cry right now. It's a beautiful
rain just
scene.
adds a whole dimension to anything.
I did start tearing up during the scene.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, me too. That I
was watching it on the elliptical and I like put it down to just like cool off mode because it was towards the end of the workout was my excuse, but I was fully like there's tears in my sweat. It was so sad.
And you gotta like say it along with it. I'm bad. I'm bad.
And I don't know if you all agree with me, but I think this is like the best she has ever been in, like as Faith. Like,
I would need to do deep thinking on that one. I don't know.
I mean,
I think I agree with you. And I would put the 2 Buffy episodes in a 4-week, month-long Faith-a-thon that the WB aired. And I would say that she just. And there's something about the way her body moves and her hair and like you're right in the sense that like Eliza Dushku kind of falls away and it's this singular character. Yeah. And only I think a handful of people across the shows have moments where they do that. And it's to have such little real estate to have found one of those moments is so great. She's so great. Oh.
Yeah. She doesn't often get to do like the more dramatic, like, even when she killed the guy, like right when Buffy then goes to talk to her, she just puts up a front and she's like, you don't get it. I don't care. So we don't get to see Faith have these kind of emotions. And Ryan, it was you or Zach that mentioned earlier, like when Faith fights, she's like feral because it's like, she knows Angel is a strong opponent, right? Yeah. So she's like going at it. But like the fact that we then get her like breakdown and we see that the whole episode has been leading to she just wants to die because she has nothing anymore. Like at this point she has literally nothing.
Well, there's a shot like reversing just a little bit, like right after she's like fucking with Wesley, she's sitting on the window ledge and she like drops the glass down into the alleyway. And that was just like, again, so powerful in such like a small thing,
Yeah.
But Eliza sells it so well, and she just, filming 4 of these episodes back to back to back, getting ready, revisiting Faith in this way. She got a lot to do, She got to be Buffy, she got to be Bad Girl Faith, she got to be Faith at a breakdown, like truly.
And she was good at all of it.
Yeah,
all of it. The Faith residency, the Faith-assance, the when she set up shop in Vegas / the WB and said, "You'll come to me."
Yeah,
my God, so good. We could still do this Faith spin-off.
I'm telling you, Scott, let's do this right now, okay? I understand that Buffy's a little bit harder to get, and that's gonna be a real hard one to get back, right? But Faith is so possible, isn't it? Isn't Faith just so possible? And Eliza looks great. I'm sure she can kick and flip and all of that.
You still gotta have Joss's name on it.
I will give my devil dollars, but I want her back. I need it. I need
the
it.
Disney Corporation and their legal team could work with some very dedicated, diverse fans to find a solution to that problem.
Just like, please, just something. My goodness.
I've said it a million times. Sell the rights to Jana Spenson. Let her be the one. Like,
let's fucking go.
Right?
It feels like this is the time.
Cut this though. I don't even know what's like. I shouldn't be saying it out of turn, but still, Jane Espenson, her whole thing is that she loves being a writer, not a showrunner. That's why that's the reason why Jane Espenson isn't running shows when people literally throw shows at her.
Well, that's fair. It seems like a high stress job.
Yeah. Once you said that, I was like, yeah, why wouldn't she already have that job?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're gonna approach Eliza Dushku. We're gonna tell her there's a spinoff happening, and she's gonna say yes, right? That's what'll happen.
That's been my master plan all along.
We're giving her budget, guys. Budget, okay? It's gonna be a good show.
No, we don't have a green light. No, we don't have money.
We will
shoot this in international waters.
Not international waters. Anything's legal.
See, what is it? The Sweet Life of Faith Lane.
I have a question for the room. If there was one like action sequence set somewhere cool, where would you want it to be set? Like on top of like a semi-wheeler or like a big truck or like an apartment building or like a sea ship or something. I don't know. Just do a fantasy like Faith, obviously. Do a fantasy, just little sequence for her.
A 90s mall.
Wait, I'm realizing now. Let Eliza Dushku in the Mission Impossible films. Let her do stunts with Tom Cruise.
Oh God,
yeah. Eliza Dushku paparazzi shots of her just running down a building, and they're like, she's making a movie. Hell yeah.
That would be great. I don't know where I would place her. A mall is a good spot, but I know it's like a smaller fight, and I pretty much love every Buffy Faith fight, but I really do love the fight in This Year's Girl when they're in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really love watching them smash the shit out of that house.
It feels more confined than in Graduation Day in an apartment somehow.
Right. Yes, it does. And like, they roll down the steps. They're like pushing each other in the hallway, and they like fall through the coffee table that breaks 1,000 times throughout the show. Like, I like that shit because she's so strong. Like, she could have pushed Buffy through one of the walls, right? Like, realistically. And I like a setting in a house where, like, I think of, like, Kill Bill, her facing off against Vivica Fox in that house. Like, I like smashing a house.
Yeah.
Ian's in his kitchen a lot, just fantasizing about doing a murder. I picked them all because I think the Faith fights are so much more about prop work. And like the way that Buffy's very environmental with her fight style, which they do mention on the show, which is funny, that it's so called out on set that they like worked it into scripts. But I think Faith loves a prop, and that's the knife thing. And I would love to see her fighting using mannequin heads. I would love to see her take out like gardening shears from the back of a Sears and attack someone in a TV section.
Around them all then. Okay.
They are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is a long fight.
An escalator fight would be wonderful.
Oh, yeah. She's going up, they're going down. Hell yeah.
LaToya, where's your dream Faith fight happening?
I mean, again, I was saying in the Mission Impossible movies. Yeah. That was my answer. Like on the wing of a plane.
On the wing of a plane that's about to land at the Louvre or whatever.
Yeah.
Jesus. So I also picked up watching this on David Boreanaz, how like Angel does stop hitting her at one point and just is standing there as she's like screaming, and she's still hitting him, but like she's begging him to kill her, and he just has his arms ready to like embrace her. And I don't know, like Angel doesn't always land for me, but in that moment I'm like, oh fuck, this is good. Like I like that. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of Willow at the end of season 6 when she's like throwing her powers at Xander, but she like is just crying and like starts beating at his chest, but then has a breakdown. Like that's
so many pivotal moments in this show happen in a raining alleyway. And I love that because it's true about LA in your fantasies. You know what I mean? Because it never rains in LA.
I know. I did think, I was like, oh, we do this again, don't we? When Darla gives birth, it's like, that's one of the best scenes.
I think there's a couple others too. It's great because it's this like the truth about Faith right now. She has nowhere to go.
Yeah.
And like
an
alley cat.
In that moment, that's so like, I know I was saying like I have trouble with the Wesley of it all, but I do like, I cry and I feel bad for her. I do. Because you're right, Ryan, and she's conveying all that. The mayor was the only really like welcoming family figure, father figure, family figure, whatever. Like he brought her in and he did care for her, and he basically was her Giles, right? Because he actually did care for her like she was his daughter.
He was teaching her the best, most loving way he can, a bad philosophy and like a bad system and a bad like way to live your life or whatever. But like, are our fathers in capitalism any better?
Oh my God.
I blew everyone's mind. But I think it's tough because everybody who said that they loved her lied to her, and they really did. You can't take that away from her.
Yeah.
And so Angel saying the same thing, it's like, if you fuck somebody, you're a completely different person. So it's a little hard for me to trust you right now.
I like the shot of like, the rain, it seems like the rain got a little lighter. They embrace, and we see Wesley with like, he's ready to kill her, but then he sees what's happening and he drops it.
And a big build-up moment for him too, right?
Yeah.
Like he has really been trying to do something right, but at this point he's like almost walking down that alley and working himself up as he's walking down the alley. Like, if this is what I have to do, this is what I have to do. And luckily doesn't have to do it and just drops it. And I didn't remember if we end here in this alleyway or if we go, because I know the next episode we pick up and she's still like wet and stuff like that, right? Okay. I was worried that was going to be the end of here because I was looking at these shots and I was like, oh, you better end in this motherfucking alley.
Zach, that's so funny because I thought the same thing, because I was like, oh, I wish this is a cooler ending, but we're gonna like cut to her like in his apartment drying off, but we didn't. And I was like, oh, good.
And it's the sound of rain. You hear the it's a knife that he has, right?
I thought it was broken glass.
It was, he grabbed a knife. He used the broken glass to get out of the rope, and then he grabs a knife from like the counter.
That's right. Okay. So
I think it kind of has to be a knife with the like. I loved it because of the Faith knife connection.
We've got the rain sound. We've got the kind of like simmering down of her yelling and punching, and she stops, and then we get the like knife hitting the floor, and we end. And it packs a punch, a Faith style punch. It gets you in the gut.
It really, really does. Like, I just fucking love it. Yeah.
So good. And it does leave you feeling like the episode as a whole leaves you feeling like it's a big mess. Like, but at least like it came to a resolution, so you do feel like some level of relief. But you don't walk away being like, oh wow, okay, so this is where we're going. I don't have any guess. I'm like, all right, well, let's get to part 2, because how do you like untangle? I don't know. How does she begin to put her life together? It really does tee up part 2 like so good. TV. When TV had to earn you coming back next week, man, did they ever do it, huh?
Well, do you know what's funny? Like, right before this episode, literally, like at 8 p.m. was the Buffy episode. And you know what was happening on Buffy? Buffy and Riley fucking up a store. You're watching that and you like feel sick to your stomach. You're like, do I want to keep watching TV? And then you get this banger of an episode.
Man, you're honestly just telling me I could probably look up the date that this aired and be like, oh, so I had a bad day that day. Or like, I'm stressed out. Let's sit and say that Wednesday, the day after it aired, I was stressed the fuck out. That's reliably true.
Yeah, and so that's the end of the episode. I think it's such a good ending.
So good.
I guess we are here now. Favorite scene, LaToya?
Favorite scene? I mean, it's just an episode of great scenes. I'll go with the final one, because again, I got very teary-eyed during it every fucking time.
LaToya, I love that I feel like I love hearing that you got emotional, because I feel like normally if we record together, it's me, the faggot, who's like, I cried, and you're like, yeah, I get it, Ian.
Well, that's because it's hilarious, because you cry at every fucking thing.
Absolutely. I'll co-sign.
I just have a lot of feelings. Zachary, what was your favorite scene?
The fight between Angel and Faith. Absolutely. I guess we could tack on the very ending with that. Yeah. But like the fight, I don't know, just something makes me feel powerful when I see Faith and Buffy fight,
Ryan?
I could do that fight, and I could do Faith fighting in the club, but I have a feeling that's what you're going to pick. And I am going to go with Faith taking a lawyer's head and smashing it through corporate office furniture, because I have wanted to do that so many times.
So, Ryan, you were correct. I have 2 favorite scenes.
Yes!
My first is the ending, and my second is the dance scene.
Well, they're great scenes.
They are, right? They're just... And
you cried for both.
And the thing is, Faith was a character that, like, helped get me into Buffy. Like, I would lie and be like, oh, I have such a crush on Faith, but I just wanted to be her. I thought she was, like, the fucking coolest. Like...
Everybody wants to be Faith,
Totally. It's a power fantasy on top of, like... You don't have to identify with the normal people who have power fantasies about. She's kind of like a pop star in that way, where you're like, she's just fucking cool. She doesn't have to answer to anybody. She doesn't have to apologize for anything. She's feminine, but she's rough. Like she's tough. She's authentic. And also she's like wrong sometimes, but it doesn't mean she's not cool. It's like it's an intoxicating fantasy for a teenager, and there's a reason every teenager kind of imprints with something with Faith.
And speaking of favorite outfit, I'll start, because I basically still wear what Faith is wearing when she goes to shoot Angel with the arrow. Like, I have that outfit, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen you in it.
Right? Like, she's wearing a choker, a denim jacket. Like, I have that. That's what I wear. So that's my favorite outfit. Ryan, what's your favorite outfit?
I think my favorite Faith outfit, period, and the Faith outfit to me, I will always picture her, is in that kitchen where she's in that... She's got black leather pants on and a black leather, I don't think it's braided. I think it's just like cutout belt and that red shirt. And her hair looks absolutely like an immortal being of light. Like, oh my God, she looks like she took a swim in the fountain of youth, but also like she works out every single day. Oh my God, it's such a good look. It fits her perfectly. Iconic. Always will be Faith to me. And those chunky shoes, come on. The Spice Girls energy in her fighting with those shoes, it's so fucking good.
Zachary, which now that I'm calling on you, I'm like, fuck, I still need to get a new jean jacket because I don't have one. I lost it when Zach and I went to Texas and we got too drunk and I left it at the bar.
Maybe don't strip on the dance floor and you won't lose your clothes.
You volunteered me for it, dickhead.
Yeah, Her in the Club. I just love that look so much. But I also want to give, I'll say Her in the Club is my special mention, but I think her eye makeup the entire episode, the real smudgy, dirty, not slept in eye makeup is just so perfect in this episode.
I thought the whole time Faith kind of looks a little bit, I know this sounds crazy, she looks, because I've been saying she's sexy the whole episode, she looks a little bit like my mom did when she was younger. And I was sitting here thinking, I have planned out a drag look to be my mom, and the Faith makeup is pretty similar. It's this downturned sort of puppy dog eye that's it pleads with you to take her to love her or identify with her, but it's also a smoky eye, so it's a little dangerous. It's this it's a really, everybody was firing on all cylinders, including the makeup department. And I was sitting there planning the drag look. I was like, if we were to do a Faith episode for a live reading or something, I really could think, I do think through what I have inherited from my mother alone, I think I could create a convincing Faith illusion, but.
Which, buy tickets for our live show. Ryan will be doing a Buffy themed drag number.
Oh my God, you do not want to miss this. Lesbians, sapphic yearning alert. It's going to be great. It's going to be so good.
Crossbow giveaway.
LaToya, what is your favorite outfit?
I'm going to go with the final outfit of the episode, like Ryan, but I'm also kind of bummed I won't be on Sanctuary, but I am amused though, because she looks like fucking shit in Sanctuary, fucking shit for Eliza Dushku. But the whole point is that she's on the come down from the high, right. So she's she looks sickly in the next episode.
But
they do paint her up as sickly a lot.
She is pale as hell in the next episode.
I'm a problem because I thought you were. I was like, yeah, LaToya, I agree. They make her look downtrodden, but she looks hotter than ever. Is what I thought you were gonna say, because that's what I think.
Yeah, that might just be something that's personal. Maybe we journal it.
Your little goth boy energy.
All right, and I think we're all probably gonna have the same one. What grade do we give the episode, Zachary?
A+.
Yeah. LaToya?
Toya's got to be different.
I'm going to give it. Are we grading it against the previous episodes of the season, or just those?
No. I mean, however you want. It's No,
don't make it however I want. Give me parameters, Ian.
It's funny because some people will say in the scale of Angel season 1, this when Zach co-hosted for I've Got You Under My Skin, and we were this is definitely very good especially for season 1.
Because if it's for season 1, A, if it's for overall A-. It's not that much of a differential.
Yeah, Ryan, what grade do you give it? Did I call it you yet?
A+, baby. I wish I could add more, so I can't, and I'm going to put a little heart on the plus.
I don't do pluses because coming from AV Club, we didn't do pluses. A was the highest.
Oh.
So when you're saying A+, it's the same as my A. Don't worry.
So yeah, I give it an A. I think it's really impressive that for a show that felt so slow and empty most of the time, that they were able to very much balance 1,000 characters in this episode. And this is the first time we really get a feel of who Wolfram and Hart is,
it's like a concert. Each piece comes in and when it needs to, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. And I do believe this is the first episode of the show that I can say that about, even though there are great episodes.
Right.
We've listened or we've watched and recorded. You can go listen to them. This is the first time that it just sings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys to get into season 2 because truly, especially because that's when the show starts doing widescreen. It was the first on the network to do it. It looks fucking gorgeous always.
Yeah.
When we interviewed Charisma, didn't she say they always went over budget?
Yeah. They spent a lot of money on it already, and then they also still went over budget. Yeah.
2 and 3 are really beautiful.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Just beautiful.
And 3 they really lead into the wire food too, and the fights are even better for it. So
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for listening. If you like Slayerfest 98, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can support us on Patreon, where we have by this point, we will have finished Harley Quinn Season 2. We'll be finishing up What If Season 1. Eventually, we'll be moving on to Harley Quinn Season 3. Any and all support is much appreciated. If you want to follow us on social, we are at SlayerFestX98. If you want to follow me, I am at ENXCarlos. Ryan, where can everyone find you?
At Ryan Houlihan on Instagram and Twitter. Oh, and you can listen to my new podcast, Too Good to Be True. It's in podcast stores, but you can also find it on YouTube from the Financial Diet, where we are debunking scams, grifts, and cons.
I love that show.
Zachary, where can everyone find you?
Not on the Financial Diet, but I am on, if you just type My Bloody Judy, Adventures of Zach and B, or Coffee and Tequila, I'll pop up somewhere.
Ooh, and I'll pop up with My Bloody Judy, too. LaToya, where can everyone find you and all the podcasts you host?
You can find me on Twitter at LaFergs, and then there's links, of course, to my other podcast ventures and the stuff I'm writing, all that cool stuff. I am doing weekly Abbott Elementary reviews for Episodic Medium now, so.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I'll have to check them out. All right, well, we will see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.